welcome each and every individual to Personality Masteries. Hi, my name is Mark Boersma, and I've got a good friend, Mary Beth, and she's got a team. She's a CPA, and she's got a phenomenal, fun team, and we're using the Life GPS to do a personality assessment. Now, if it seems like we're going over a lot of information in a short period of time, the reason it seems that way is because we are. So no problem. We'll give you contact information. Well, I'll give it to you right now. If you have any questions on anything we covered, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Or if you're calling in outside the U.S., you can call the U.S.-based number at 630-393-9909. That's 630-393-9909. So what we did is we're using a tool called life-gps.org. That's life-gps.org. It's through Life Masteries Institute. They're a nonprofit organization. They're amazing. And the mobile app will look at your personality in it'll identify your personality in 17 seconds. Now there's 4 major personalities. And then if you look at primary and secondary, there's 16. If you look at 3 levels deep, there's 64. If you look at 4 levels, it's 256. If you look at the pain quadrant testing and the geo test, the geo and the pain quadrant test, there's 65,536 possible combinations. But it all comes back to 4. So the more you know about this, the more you know you don't know. I've written 16 books, over 70 white papers. I've traveled all around the world. This stuff is just amazing. Tom Kuntz, past president of Century 21, he's been through like every personality training under the sun. He said, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. He's like, it's amazing, Mark. There is an individual, she had her PhD in psychology, and she said, I went through the online training that Life Masteries has. It's a 12-hour online course. She said, I learned more in that 12-hour course online than I did with all of my PhD training. So it's really cool. But again, we're going to just cover just the geo testing. We're not going to get into the pain or the 65,536. We're just going to be looking at 4 major personalities today, and we can build it from that. So you can actually identify the personality. It's based on 2 major things. Is somebody more assertive or less assertive? If they're more assertive, they're going to be the driver or the expressive personality. If they're less assertive, they're going to be the analytic or the amiable personality. So are they more assertive or less assertive? If you're not sure, they're probably less assertive, because more assertive people, are going to be more assertive. You're going to know that. The second question you're looking for is the person more task or people? Are they focused more on the task, or are they focus more on the people? The cube and the pyramid will tend to focus more on the task, and the ball and the wavy line will tend to focus more on the people. So if you have somebody less assertive and focused in on focused on the task, they're going to be an analytic. If they're going to be more assertive and focused on the task, they're going to be a driver personality, a cube, or a pyramid. If they're more assertive and focused on people, they're a wavy line or an expressive. And if they're less assertive and focused on people, they're going to be an amiable. And so there's not any better personality or worse. They're all different. Sometimes your geo and your pain quadrant test will match. And so if you look at things being out of order, that's the analytic. Things being out of control, that's the driver. Things being boring or not fun, that's the expressive. Conflict with others is going to be the amiable. Again, sometimes your personality matches, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's totally opposite. Again, none of it's good. There's no judgment. It just is what it is. Our greatest strength is going to be our greatest weakness, and our greatest weakness is just going to be our greatest strength. Misapplied is taking a strength and carrying it too far. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is what the Life GPS looks at, and it's really cool because you can touch on, if I wanted to go ahead and see, Mary Beth, I could touch on Mary Beth, and this is me, and I can compare the two. Like, this is so cool. And then they give like a 1-minute video. Well, it depends on what channel you're punched into, this particular one. So I'm going to be an analytic in this test. I'm going to be an analytic driver personality, and Mary Beth is going to be an expressive driver personality. So Mary Beth and I are going to connect in the geo test on our driver. So we're both going to be our greatest strengths in that test is going to be our drive, our assertiveness, make things happen. Our weakness is going to be our drive, our assertiveness, we make things happen. So our greatest strength is our greatest weakness. Our greatest weakness is just our greatest strength misapplied. Now, Mary Beth is going to be, her primary personality in the geo test is going to be the expressive personality. So one of her greatest strengths is her energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. Weakness might be energy, excitement, enthusiasm. She's a double assertive, so she's assertive both people and task. I'm very jealous of this personality. You'll find out why in just a moment. I'm going to be an analytic driver, and so analytic, I like to do, one of my greatest strengths is dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure things are done properly in order. So my personality likes to do things fast and perfect in that order. So I like to do things fast and perfect. If you see any expressive or amiable in me, it's all learned. And so Mary Beth and I, we're going to like each other, but there's going to be tension in this personality because she likes to kind of, each one of the ideal view of life is ready, aim, fire. The analytic view of life, mine is ready, aim, check, 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 check. Like I don't want to make a mistake. My secondary is fire, aim, and then say, are we all ready to do that? And then the expressive is ready because they're really, expressive in nature, so ready, and then fire, and then where were we going again? And then the amiable is, are we all ready to, go? So each of these different energy bases are going to lead to different things. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So Mary Beth here is going to be, you won't be able to read this, but trust me, you'll learn over time. So Mary Beth is a driver expressive. I'm going to be a driver analytic. Monica is going to be in this test, again, there's different tests. So Monica is going to be a analytic, amiable personality. So Monica is one of Monica's greatest strengths. Dot her I's, cross her T's, make sure things are done properly in order. Weakness would be the same. One of her greatest strengths is her concern, compassion for people. One of her weaknesses would be the same. This type of one of her greatest strengths might be, her tenacity. Like when she sets her mind to do something, she does that. One of her weaknesses might be, I'm not saying Monica, I'm just saying, this type of personality. One of their greatest strengths is their tenacity. They set their mind to do something. One of their weaknesses might be, they might be a tad stubborn at times. If that wasn't tough enough, they have a lot of data to back up their stubbornness, which again is not inherently bad. It can be. It's so that Monica is going to test out here. Now, we're not going to get into the pain quadrant test, and so if your pain quadrant test was very different, when I share what I'm sharing, you might say, that's not me, Mark, which is fine, because your other test would reveal probably what you are. Let's see here. Destiny would go ahead and be an amiable, expressive personality. So Destiny and I would fall in love with each other. So we tend to like people who are like us, and we tend to fall in love with people who are opposite of us. And Destiny and I are almost about as opposite as you could possibly get. So I'm going to fall in love with Destiny because she's such a nice person, and she's really outgoing in this personality. Again, I'm not looking at the other one. So she's really, caring and compassionate. I love caring and compassionate people, and I love outgoing people. I mean, I don't like them so much, but I do love them. And so we tend to like other personalities who are like us, and we tend to fall in love with people that are opposite. So Destiny, one of her greatest strengths might be her concern, compassion for people. One of her greatest weaknesses might be her concern, compassion for people. Sometimes people take advantage of the amiable personality. One of her greatest strengths might be her energy, excitement, enthusiasm. She has a double portion of people skills here. So she's going to people are going to like her. She's outgoing, she's fun, she's funny, she's caring. The challenge is that often this type of personality has a hard time getting the task done because people might take advantage of them, or they might get distracted because they're always focused on people. Like they love to connect with people, and so sometimes the task doesn't get done. let's see, Nicole is going to go ahead and be, she's going to be the same thing here, so amiable and the expressive personality. If we take a look at the Bruce is going to go ahead and he's going to be just the opposite. So he's going to be a driver, analytic personality. And so, one of his greatest strengths might be his drive, assertiveness. He makes things happen. One of his weaknesses might be his drive, assertiveness. He makes things happen. One of his strengths is he likes to dot his I's, cross his T's, make sure things are done properly in order. In that order, if he's got to do it fast or perfect, he's going to choose, based on this test, he's going to choose fast. So he's going to choose fast. He's going to be like, get it done fast. What about perfect? Well, if it's fast enough, you know what? Nobody will notice. Well, in accounting, somebody may notice it. And so each one of these personalities, and in communication, like Mary Beth mentioned about the clear communication white paper. So in communication, the analytic often gives too much detail to the driver and the expressive personality, and they often don't see the big picture. So they often, and if they're listening, the analytic is going to go ahead and listen to the details, but they're not going to see the big picture. And if they don't see the big picture, the details could lead them in the wrong direction. The driver will tend to see the big picture in communication and communicate that, but they often won't fill in the details. So Mary Beth, in the one personality assessment that we did, she's an expressive driver. So the expressive personality is going to go ahead and have many topics of conversation going on all at the same time. Like, they're very gifted, but it's hard to keep up with them because they have 10 different topics they're talking about. And these, especially the analytic and the amiable, they become confused by those 10 topics. And they tend to talk really fast, and they tend to go ahead and look at the big picture and miss some of the details. So the driver is going to go ahead and be really good at big picture, but often weak in details. The expressive is going to communicate with a ton of energy. These two personalities tend not to have a lot of energy. So if in communication, these people, the analytic and the driver, need to have more animation, more drama. The expressive and the amiable, often less animation, less drama, because they're always excited about everything, the expressive is. So you never know what's really important because everything's important. And then the amiable personality, that individual is going to communicate based on not words, but feelings. They're very, very sensitive, often to their own sensitivities, not to the sensitivity of other people. The analytic has tremendous high ego in that they think they're the smartest person in the room because they know they know the details. They know the most details, but they'll miss the big picture. The driver will tend to go ahead and give the impression they don't care about people, so they'll often run people over. The expressive has high ego too. They love to be the center of attention. They love drama. The amiable tends to be the dark side of each one of these four personalities. The amiable tends to go ahead and be super, super arrogant, big time. But nobody's ever told them that in their life. Everybody's always told them from childhood all the way up to adulthood how nice of a person. They're not nice. I mean, I'm married to an amiable, so obviously I have to say they're nice. But they struggle because they can be, like poison. Like, they can undermine people, not on purpose, sometimes on purpose, but a lot of times they hurt themselves in an organization without even knowing it. And so the dark side of the amiable is they can be divisive. They don't like conflict, and so they will avoid conflict, but it's kind of like a poison, like it's coming out a little bit at a time. And again, no one's just one of these. We typically have, some of all four of them. Mine is really high driver and really high analytic. I'm low on the amiable, really super low, on the expressive. But fortunately, I have 4 daughters And so they're very expressive, and so I've learned from them. Now, Mary Beth, if I take a look at the Geo and the pain quadrant test combined, she's a 65-54. That doesn't mean a lot to you, but she's totally opposite on the pain quadrant test. Like, totally. So on the pain quadrant test, she's going to be an amiable, analytic personality. So she's super, super caring, and she wants to do things, perfectly in order, too. So she's totally out. And here she's one, the Geo, and here she's another. So she can shift, energy bases really fast. Bruce is also similar. He's a 64-55. So he's going to be, his strongest is going to be driver personality, but he's very strong in the amiable and expressive too. So in the pain quadrant test, he's going to be an amiable and then an expressive. So he's going to be like really strange, really exciting, just like Mary Beth is really strange. And when I say strange, I don't mean bad strange. I mean really cool, fun strange. Like it's really, really cool. Nicole, she's a 64-64, very close to an inner quadrant personality. And so Nicole is going to, so each one of you, when I was telling you your Geo, you might have said, Mark, you're not right. That's not right. That's not me. You're right, because I was only telling you one. So Nicole, or let's go back to Monica. So in Monica, we skipped Monica. So Monica is not an inner quadrant. She is she tests out very similar in both tests. Again, it's not good or bad, but she's going to be very, very deep in the analytic and amiable. And that's good and it's bad. I mean, so she's very, very strong. So she'll be really, really, really concerned about people and really, really focused on, getting the details done. She doesn't have the counterbalance of the analytic and the amiable, analytical and expressive. Again, it's not bad. It just is what it is. Nicole, she's going to be in the Geo test. She's going to be an amiable, expressive, but then in the pain quadrant test, she's going to be a driver analytic. So again, you guys have some really cool, or we could call them strange, like you guys are amazing. Like it's like you guys are like the, X-Men. Like you guys have all this, super power. Destiny is going to be similar, like in the Geo test, she's going to be an amiable, an expressive personality, but in the pain quadrant test, she's going to go ahead and be a driver analytic. So, again, as promised, I said we'd be going over a lot of information in a short period of time. What questions do you all have?
Hi, Mark. It's Monica.
Yes, Monica.
I don't even remember taking a test, or was it a verbal test?
I think it was one. Yeah, which of these four shapes would you tend to like the most? And so I believe you chose the cube and then the ball and then the wavy line and then the pyramid. And then which of these four things caused you the most frustration? I think you said conflict with others, out of order, out of control, and then boring and not fun.
Okay, I just don't remember.
Yeah,
sorry.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. So it's kind of freaky to people on how accurate it is. It's like, whoa. So it takes 17 seconds. It takes 17 seconds to go ahead and identify somebody's personality. Once we see that, again, there's 65,536 possible combinations, and it's amazing. So once you identify somebody's personality, you know what they like, what they don't, turns them on, turns them off, if they're married, who they're married to, or in a relationship. You know what the strengths in the relationship are, what the weaknesses are in the relationship. You know more about the individual than they know about themselves. It's really cool. It's awesome for CPA firms, and any firm, but especially CPA firms, because you guys will often have challenges getting your clients to do things like get you the reports or, whatever. Each of the different personalities, what's weird about this and fun and frightening is what causes one personality pain actually causes another personality pleasure. Like it's weird. I'm just saying. It's just really weird. It's cool. Like this stuff is so fun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. Other questions?
Really interesting.
And
well, so
go ahead.
when I was this clear communications white paper, it kind of it's a better like set of diagrams, and I think with this knowing how we're all like all over the board, but maybe we have better strengths. Like I already identified myself as like being too wordy. I mean, with the other things, those communication seminars I did at the reunion, and I've got to fix that. But I really want us to really think about this and write me a set of notes about how what you're learning about yourself and what you've learned from this conversation with Mark, that you can kind of just kind of figure out a simpler, and simpler is fine. I've always been complicated. So simpler is really fine. But just let's all think about this thoughtfully and send me an email about it. I'm going to send you mine, okay, about my self-analysis. And I want you to do the same thing and how we can all help each other work as a better team, a strong team. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Like, how cool would this be where you could go ahead and offer, a 17-second free personality assessment to all your customers? And then anybody that fills it out, so Ken Bucci, that's one of the things he did with his EVAs, is they set up an entire system, and then they sent out an email, and then they had everybody do the test. And so then once they do the test, then you could invite them to participate in like this type of a webinar, and then we could talk to them about this, and so this will help their communication. This will help them to go ahead and get their tax information into you guys, so you can actually have fun with this once somebody's gone through, and it's like a half an hour. It's not like a lot of time. Once they've gone through it and they understand their personality, then you can go ahead and kind of have a little bit of fun with it, and you can help them, and they can help you. There's some neat things. I know I went through just a boatload of information in a short period of time. Does anyone have any questions?
What are you going to do to help us move forward and work together better as a team? When are we going to start that process? When we email Mary Beth, she'll forward that to you?
Yep.
Okay.
And we've kind of already started it, kind of without you guys even knowing it. So when we get together, I've got all of this information, and so I'm trying to communicate to you all in your personality. And then I'm trying to listen to all of you in your personality, and I'm trying to help you to see your strengths and weaknesses based. Elise and I are trying to see to help you all to see like your strengths and weaknesses. Like each of the four personalities will tend to go ahead and they're going to have blind spots in certain areas. Like the analytic is going to take too long to do things. And so, like with Monica, when she makes a mistake, I would celebrate and say, "Oh, way to go, Monica, that's awesome." Because it's mortifying to her. Like, it's just mortifying. She just hates making mistakes. She just hates it. So again, when a toddler goes ahead and falls down, nobody says, "Oh, you'll never walk again." So the analytic, you got to kind of motivate them in another way. Now, we have to be careful what mistakes we make, right? So I'm encouraging Monica to make mistakes, but like we have to be careful in accounting. Like we got to make sure we're not making wrong mistakes or big mistakes. Like, whoa, that's a big mistake. We can't do that. The driver, so the analytic, it's what's called counterintuitive coaching. It's the highest level of coaching that I've ever experienced. It's doing the opposite of what you think you ought to do. So the analytic needs to pull the trigger and do things faster. When they do that, they're going to make more mistakes. A lot of those mistakes are not honestly going to be that big of a deal. And so, but again, we have to be careful of the mistakes. And so, like Mary Beth is a great mentor because she knows, like her brain is wired in such a way, she's learned over the years how to control her expressive driver personality. Otherwise, she wouldn't be in business today. So she's learned how to control that. and how to make sure she's not making really fatal mistakes. And so the way her brain functions is really cool. The driver personality, so the coaching for the analytic, again with caution, is be okay with making mistakes. You'll get a lot more work done. You'll work faster. So the analytic amiable tends to work slower. They have a hard time kicking out a lot of work. The driver and the expressive personality kick out work too fast. And so what they're going to do is they're going to make mistakes that are actually going to slow them down. The driver personality is going to go ahead and pull the trigger too quickly. The expressive is going to pull the trigger too quickly, and the amiable is going to pull the trigger too slowly. So it's really a self-awareness of who we are and how we're wired that helps us to have a deeper understanding. Other questions?
This is amazing, Mark, and as I've been saying, I've wanted to take this time so I can study all your resources, and you have a ton of them between Life Masteries Institute. And I think, when I try to even pull up the white paper, it takes me a little bit of time. But if you could give us, maybe Elise could just send us a little instruction manual on how to use your resources. I've got the one website set up, but I don't know if there's anything else about what you use or what we should be familiar with to interact with you. That would be helpful.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, so I'm an analytic driver, okay, driver analytic, and so I'm really, really strong with drive, and I like to do things fast and perfect in that order. I spent 2 years as an amiable personality. My kids say, Dad, you're not bipolar. So I have 7 children, three son-in-laws, a daughter-in-law, and then 5 grandkids. So my kids say to me, Dad, you're not bipolar, you're quad or quinpolar. I spent 3 years as an expressive personality to try to understand deeply how their brains are wired in doing this. So what we'll do is, one of the resources, everything you do with me is going to be overwhelmed. You're just going to be overwhelmed. There's just too many resources to keep up with it all. So just be used to being overwhelmed. It's not a bad overwhelm. It's a good overwhelm. So if you can tap into because I've been trying to tap into all of your brains, because that's how I can help you. That's how Elise and I can help you the most. And so you guys are going to, Elise is going to be working with you. I'm going to be in Hawaii the first 2 weeks of July. And Elise is going to be connecting with all of you and being able to do this, and she's amazing, and she knows how I think. And so Elise will get you over a book review and a website review, and this goes through the books and the movies and why I think they're powerful. And then at the end of that, it's going to go ahead and show that it's going to show all the different websites. And so there's a whole bunch. Like Mary Beth, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. There's just no way you can keep up with it. But if you're confused, it's a good confused. Just check with Elise. Say, I'm confused. And she'll have, what's the most important thing that you're trying to go ahead and improve personally. And there's very specific resources that are available to be able to help you with that. Cool. Other questions or thoughts?
It's great, Mark. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really appreciate this. So, in the meantime, I'm going to send you guys all this white paper. Mark, actually, in dealing with us, and it perfected it. I think this is when he did the edits and made
Right. Yeah.
So, anyway, so we're definitely a set of characters.
You guys are.
The character is good.
Right, it's good.
Is good.
Right, it's good. Oh, one thing, I love when white papers don't work. Okay? Some people may say, that's kind of weird, but I love when they don't work. So if you read a white paper and you say, this is a stupid white paper, like you all know I have social autism, so I don't take any personal offense, you can just email me and say, Mark, that was a stupid white paper. I'm not going to, it's okay. Okay, cool. So if you read a white paper, any of the white papers, and there's over 70 of them, and they're kind of in different phases. Phase 1 is thinking differently, and then phase 2 is something else, and then, so there's a bunch of different ones, and they're typically short. The newer ones are 3 to 5 pages with, Q&A after that. But if a white paper isn't working for you, email Elise and myself and say, hey, I've read this white paper. This is what I've learned. This is Manage Up and Out. This is what I've learned. This is the action I'm going to take from what I learned, and this is what I need to learn next. And then tell us and say, this is those 3 things, but I don't think it's worked. Because then what we do is we go ahead and then collaborate with Life Masteries Institute and a whole bunch of mastermind groups, and we go in and look at that white paper again and come up with a question. And so the white papers will work, but to make them work, we need to have feedback from you, and they're always continually being enhanced. Cool. Anyone else have anything else?
Thank you, Mark. This is great. We really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you.
I'm going to put my I'm out of the office email on for this next week, but I'm still here.
All right.
Love you guys.
You guys are awesome. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So if you're listening again to the rebroadcast of this, you're like, oh, my gracious, this is amazing. Like, this is